In today's video, we're going to be taking my Bitmain L3 Plus from this to this with a few tweaks, a few mistakes, a few configuration changes, but we make it happen.
Today's video is sponsored by the team over at CoinLedger.io. If you're a US-based crypto mining enthusiast, I bet you didn't know you have until the end of 2022 to harvest your capital losses in crypto for the upcoming tax season. CoinLedger.io has made the tax loss harvesting process super easy for home crypto miners. Get this. In a few easy steps, you can have CoinLedger.io pull your wallet transactions and generate a simple tax loss harvesting report. This then allows you to see projected capital losses that can be written off in the upcoming tax season. Bam bam, thank you ma'am, you're done. I have partnered with CoinLedger.io to offer this entirely free to the community, as well as CoinLedger.io is also hosting a free giveaway event. Full details and links in the description of today's video.
What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, going back a few weeks ago, we went ahead and purchased my first Bitmain Antminer L3 Plus. And it's a little bit different than the traditional L3 Plus, only because it has a little bit extra hash rate to it. This is my first mid-size ASIC miner, and it's actually a Scrypt miner, which means that you get paid out in Doge and Litecoin, which is awesome, because I've really enjoyed stacking Doge and Litecoin over the last few weeks. But if you remember, going back to my first video, and if you're not familiar, I'll put a link in the upper corner to when I got this unit. My goal was to replace these high RPM fans. These are 6,000 RPM fans. They get really loud in the summer. So I thought during the fall and winter months, it'd be a great time to test out some lower RPM fans that are well known to be quieter within the industry. And then we'll have to retest them again as we get into spring and summer, because who knows how well they'll do in the warmer months. But today we're going to replace these high RPM fans with some really cool Noctua fans. All right, miners, so here we have my Bitmain Antminer L3++. This is the 580 mega hash version. We do have our Bitmain power supply. It's an APW3++, which we actually luck out with because they're significantly quieter than a lot of the other mid-size power supplies. In the back here, a whole bunch of PCI cables. We'll plug those in. One goes into our control board, and we have 2, 4, 6, 8 go into the hash boards here. So our goal today is to test the 6,000 RPM fans with the current power supply versus what we have over here, which is our Noctua NF F12 3000 RPM fans. Now, only 3,000 RPMs, those are 6,000 RPMs. So two things we're going to be testing for. One is going to be, do these cool enough to replace our 6,000 RPM fans? And second, what's the sound like? So we're going to be putting like a decibel meter up here and testing it out. Now, we are going to keep our temperature in mind. Right now it's 75 degrees Fahrenheit in here. Hit our button, 24.1 degrees Celsius. So we're going to try to, between each of our tests, we're going to try to drop the temperature back down because this unit heats up this room very quickly. I think if you guys saw my first video, it was over, what was it, 90 plus degrees Fahrenheit very quickly in this room, all from just that miner. So that's something we're going to have to keep in mind. Something else to take a look at, guys. So these Noctua fans are awesome, but they're also significantly smaller when it comes down to your depth. You can see there. So what I did was I went ahead and measured the depth versus the depth over here, and I figured out that we need a total of 1 and 1/4 inches for our total screw length. So what I did was to determine that was I measured the depth of this fan and I measured the depth of this fan and just subtracted it. And my goal is to make sure that we don't have super long screws going in to the unit. I want it to be the exact same length holding the screw through the fan into the actual ASIC. So to make sure we don't go too far. Now I did buy these from a local hardware store, and you might be able to see, it might be hard on the camera, but there is a line on them. So I need to take these outside and cut them with my jigsaw when we're ready for that. All right, so it's going to go ahead and ramp up here. It's going to take a few minutes to get up and running. So I'm going to check back here in, let's give it 5 minutes. We're going to do this test the same for each of these. So we'll check back in 5 minutes and see where the sound is at, the temperature, and then also the cooling. All right, guys, it has been just over 5 minutes, as you guys can see there. We're up and running right now. We haven't had really any temperature fluctuation in here, which is great. Let's keep that going. So to show you guys, I did have a ping test up and running right here. And then I do have this unit in HiveOS with the HiveOS firmware. If you guys have not seen the video, I have a full how-to, guys, about 20 minutes long on exactly how to do this and flash the L3 with the version of the HiveOS firmware. So take a look. I'll put it in the upper right-hand corner and down below. So you can see here, we can see we're at after 5 minutes, 58, 61, 61, 58, and our fan speeds are 4290 right now. So let's keep that in mind. That's where we are after 5 minutes. So I was thinking about this during our downtime. Let's wait 15 minutes to see where these numbers end up leveling out. So I'm going to be back here in 15 minutes, guys. All right, we're just over 15 minutes, as you guys can see. Our temperatures have stayed the same, which is awesome. Everything's working out great. Now, taking a look over here, we have 57, 61, 62, and 57. So our only difference is we've gone up by 1 degree right here from 61 to 62, and our fan speeds have stayed the same at 2490. Our hash rate was 502. Now we're at 503. Okay, so what's next? So what I need to do is I need to remove the fans on the front. I don't need the screws on the front. I actually just got done cutting these down. As you guys can see, they used to be really long. I cut them down to that length that I need. Now, if you take a look, these screws wouldn't work on this fan because look, well, as I drop it, so good at this. As you guys can see, they're short there, but they'll work on something like this over on our Noctua, because if we go ahead and push it through, look, it just comes through just a tiny bit, just enough to grab onto the miner itself. So what we're going to do is the hardware store only had 4 of these screws. I think, now don't quote me, but I think when I brought these to the hardware store, I worked with the guys there to do some testing. I think the thread on these is something called M7. Someone in the chat is going to correct me, and please do. But 1 1/4 is what we ended up with these with our measurements there. So I cut the 4 of these, and then I bought this this kit here, this needle file kit, a while ago. Never had a chance to use it till tonight, so I've been going ahead and filing down the ends, as I did use a jigsaw with a metal blade, and they end up like tearing up the end of them, so I'm cleaning up the end of those with the file. So I'm going to remove the front. I don't need these 4 screws. I have the screws. Then on the back side, I'm going to remove the fan as well, but I need to cut down the stock screws. At some point, if I ever end up needing to go back to these, I'll just have to make sure that I go ahead and purchase them. And I might even do that now, put them in a little baggie, mark them off, and hold on to them just in case I ever need them, versus waiting till a year or 2 down the road or 3 years down the road, and I'm scrambling trying to figure out exactly what I did. So let me go ahead and get these fans uninstalled, and I'll check back with you guys in just a minute. All right, take a look. Fans are removed from the front and back. And there's a reason I called this unit in HiveOS my L3 Plus Dirty, because these fans are in rough shape. Even these grills have some rust on them. We're definitely going to keep these fans. They work great. They work awesome. We're just going to clean them hardcore and pack them away. Now, taking a look at our screws. These screws here are the stock screws. We're going to use 4 of them. We're going to cut them down. If you guys are curious, you need to know these are 1 3/4 inches. Now, the reason we went with these guys, I cut these down to 1 1/4 inches, is because the difference between the thickness of these fans and the thickness of these fans is 1/2 inch. So 1 3/4 inches minus a 1/2 inch gives us 1 1/4 inches, which is what we have here and is what we need. So let me head out in the garage. I'm going to cut 4 of these guys to size, and we'll be ready for our install. Okay guys, we are ready. I went ahead and got all of these cut and filed down. Oh my gosh, so glad I had those files. If you guys need them, I'll put a link down below to this little individual kit. I think it's from like Home Depot or something like that, but I'll put a link down below. Never thought I would use them, but hey, worked out well. So something I forgot about, I want to let you guys know. So we talked about these being super rusty and pretty beat up in my first L3 video. Well, guess what? We got a care package, and not only did they send some brand new ones, but they sent this Amazon LED light, and I was like, awesome! I'll go ahead and throw it in my office. So these came from the Traveler's Travels. So huge shout out to him. Many of you guys know him from being in chat and a lot of live streams and comments, and an active member of the community. So huge shout out to him. Thank you for supplying these. We are going to use these. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to get our fans here. These are the NOCTUA fans that we had talked about previously. If you look on the bottom, they actually have, there we go, there's the arrows. Well, they were there. Let's go over here. There we go, the arrows to give us the direction. So the sticker is the exhaust side. So what we're going to do is we're going to install one just like that, kind of sitting right there. And then on this side, we're going to install the second one on the back side here. We're going to run the cables up, and something you're going to see is these will go right in on the top here and get plugged into our fan controllers. Now, something others have mentioned, and it looks like it's gonna, yeah, it'll be an issue. Look, I can't get this on here because of this. So I have two options. I can cut this off on the fan slot, or I can file or cut these off. I'll have to kind of figure out on the fan pin itself. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take these and put one on the front here and one on the back. So let me go ahead and do that, and we'll circle back around. Oh baby, check it out. Oh, I'm so excited. So our fans worked out really, really well. Something I didn't account for, but it all worked out thankfully, was the depth, the tiny bit of additional depth that these grills end up adding. They add a tiny bit right in there. So if you're going to do this yourselves, as I said, the screws I did about 1.25 inches. I'd give it a tiny bit more if you're going to use the grills. If not, 1.25 inches would be fine. It screwed it and caught just enough. This isn't going anywhere, and I don't have to worry about going too far in and hitting any hash boards or anything like that. I know a lot of people were concerned about that, but it looks so good. So I positioned the fan this way so that the cables coming out of the fan can run in here. And I just grabbed this clip, guys. I don't even know what to call it. But it's a really nice clip that you can, I stuck right on, just double-sided tape, worked out well. And then I'll show you guys, what I did was, I actually ended up just taking a knife, and let me put my hand here, there we go. And I just chipped away at the two little divots in that fan, on that fan connector. So now I can go ahead and just plug it in, and bam, we're good to go. And I can keep those stock clips on the L3 Plus there, which is nice. Scooting it around, here's the back side of it. You can see that we put the fan closest on this side. I didn't want to put it on the bottom or the top. Just put it on the side there, works out well. But we guys are set and good to go. So I am hyped to get this set up. So temperatures right now, 73.2. So within that 1% of acceptability when it comes down to a differential there. Almost snipped my finger trying to use these, but we just went with a little knife and it worked out nicely. Okay, we are plugged in. Got our timer going. We're going to keep an eye out for 5 minutes. Now, something that we need to do as soon as this gets up and running, there's a setting. I'll show it to you guys in a minute. There's a setting that we have to make sure we set within the HiveOS firmware to make sure that it ignores the fan RPM speeds. I'll explain more in a minute, but let's let this run for 5 minutes. Okay, so we're up and running here. It's only been maybe 2 minutes. I wanted to show you guys, if you come up to miner config, there's a setting at the bottom. It says disable fan check, immersion cooling only. We're going to check that and hit save and apply. So we actually need that, and the reason is because if we don't check that, it's going to constantly be battling the RPM speeds and trying to adjust them, and it's actually going to cause a fault, and it's actually not going to work properly at all. It's constantly going to cause a fault and stop your miner from mining because it's looking for a fan that does 6,000 RPMs, not a fan that does 3,000 RPMs. So I went ahead and checked that off, and we're going to give it our 5 minutes total, and we'll check back. All right, so it's been almost 6 minutes now, just over that 5 minute mark. You can hear the fans roaring right now. Not super, super loud. They're not like that high whine noise that you would get from something like this. They're actually quite quieter, but they're at 100% right now, and I'll show you guys real quick. So within our software, I was thinking, so we disabled the fan check, right? Oh, this cable's messing me up here. Here we go. We disabled that, but the fans just stayed super, super slow. So what I did was there's a setting, customize the fan speed. I set it to 100. And then just to be safe, there's another setting. Stop running when PCB temps are over 80C. I enabled that as well, just to be safe. So the fans don't adjust on their own now because of that disable fan check and making those adjustments. So in Hive OS, I had noticed at that time that our fans were only at like 600 and some RPMs. So I ramped them up to 100%. So you can see here in the software, it's rated about 2820 and 2790. That'll fluctuate. I can go ahead and refresh it here. So yeah, there we go. It has updated quite a bit. But what we can see is that it is showing that one of these is actually overheating. Take a look, 88 and 84 degrees. That is not good. Let's go ahead and check a few things and I'll be right back. So I figured it out. This is a novice mistake. All right, so if you guys remember, we talked about the sticker on the fan is on the exhaust side, right? So it looks good here. This is our intake. Take a look at my exhaust. Where's the sticker? The sticker is pointing inwards, which means we're blowing the air back in. So yes, I make mistakes too, all the time. Let me go ahead and fix this and we'll run our test again. All right, with everything fixed up, we hit our 5-minute mark, which is good. Temperatures in here have stayed the same, which is great. I got some great suction coming in the front there. Everything's blowing nicely out the back, which is awesome. Taking a look on the computer, this is what I expected to see. So our cooling is better, but we are at 100% and we're at 3030 RPMs. So you can see across the hash boards 57, 58, 57, and 55. Whoo! I'm so glad we got that figured out. Thank you, thank you. So one thing I do want to do is I do want to come in here and I do want to drop my fans. So I'm going to come in here, refresh. Now the fans have actually like auto gone to like 100% without these checked. I was doing some testing. So I actually want to recheck them and set this to 90% now. I kind of want to reel it back a little bit, see if that helps with the sound. And then we'll test out the decibel readings after we hit that 15-minute mark. So I'll be back, guys, in 10 minutes. All right, we hit 15 minutes, guys. You can see our temps here. Everything's looking good. Our fan speed's down to 2220. And you can see our temps 59, 60, 59, 58. So here's what I did. I actually came in here and I slowly lowered the percent of the fan speed down to 70. And the reason I stopped there was because I wanted to get my temperatures to be about the same so that I could go ahead and get a good estimate as to what my fans would have to be at to equal the same temperatures, and then my speeds would go ahead and reflect that. So if you guys don't remember, I did write it down. We were at 57, 61, 62, and 57. So we're super close when it comes down. I tried to tweak it the best that I could there. So keeping that in mind, something I wanted to show you guys was on my previous video, the first video with my L3, here's that dirty miner completely stock. And we were at 68, 71, 72, 65 at 3100 RPMs. And in that video, we were at 76 decibels. So the stock setup as to what we have over here, these guys here, when we were running that previous video, but that's fine, no big deal. I will be honest, I got a little excited and didn't measure the decibel readings. I was so excited to get the Noctuas installed. So we referenced that video that we did in this exact place, same setup and everything like that. And it was putting us at a dB rating of 76. These units at the same temperature for my hash boards at a speed of 70 now Let's go ahead and reset this, and we'll give it a few seconds. So we're going to say 69. So we were, with these, we're at 69, and the other ones you can see over here, we're at 76. So these are definitely quieter from the dB scale side of things, which is great. Now our RPMs are slower, but we are achieving the same cooling, which is what I wanted to show. The one thing that this doesn't measure, and I don't think the camera captures enough, is the lack of whining noise that this is giving off versus my stock fans over here. These really give you that traditional ASIC high whiny noise. You're not getting that with the Noctua fans. It's a deeper fan noise. I really don't know how to explain it, but I don't know if you guys can hear it with the mic, but I just wanted to give you guys a good idea on that. All right, guys, so I'm going to count this as a success. I'm super happy with it, but what we need to do is we need to do some more testing in the spring and summer. This is easy to test here in this situation when my temperatures are 73 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. But what happens when these temperatures, and this setup is in my shed, and this is 90 to 95. Are the Noctuas at 100% going to be enough to keep them cool? That's something that we're going to have to go ahead and check when we get into the spring and summer. All right, guys, so we have a victory. I am so pleased that this worked out. I'm going to be honest, I got a little nervous when it started overheating. I'm glad it was something dumb and stupid, but hey, we all make mistakes. I can't be the first one. Feel free to leave a comment down below laughing at me and maybe sharing a story as to a simple mistake like this that you made that almost ruined your night. Well, guys, if you guys need links to anything, I'll put them down below in the description as well as down in the first pinned comment. If you're looking for the NOCTUA fans, I'll put a direct link to that. If you're looking for one of these little clips here that help hold all the cables onto the side of the ASIC, I'll put those down below as well. In addition to that, I will put some of the measurements that I used for these screws as well as these new grill guards in the front as well. I'll try to supply as much as I can to make things a little bit easier for you guys, so please keep an eye out down below. Keep in mind their affiliate link, so hey, they help me out and they cost you guys absolutely nothing. Well, that's going to wrap things up for today. Another one in the books, something I'm looking to do in the future with my L3, let's take it to another video, right, is I want to put this on an HP 1200 watt service power supply with a breakout board and some high-end PCI cables and see how we do from the watt perspective. I want to see what's most efficient and maybe what's a little bit quieter. Is it the Bitmain power supply that I'm using, or is it something like an HP server power supply? Well, guys, if you enjoyed today's video on our L3 Plus with our Noctua fans, give it a thumbs up. And finally, don't forget to subscribe. Take care.